views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
When you add Be You plus Live Your Purpose, what do you get? Joy. That's the motto of Unstuck Joy with Vicki-Todd. Vicki believes you were born with gifts that you're meant to use to make the world a brighter place. Have you ever wondered, is this all life has to offer? There must be more. If you answer yes, then Unstuck Joy is the show for you. Each show will feature a memoir artwork painted by Vicki that taps into universal themes of evolution, hope, inner strength, and self-growth. Vicki will also ask listeners to play along. Draw, doodle, collage, write, and or paint your way to soul clarity with Art Vision Journaling. Unstuck Joy will compel you to tune into your soul's whispers to realize your unique dreams. Get ready to get unstuck.
Hey, everybody, welcome. What a great show we've got planned for all of you today. And for those of you that are wondering, this is also a video segment of our visual radio with Vicki-Todd joining me here today. This is Unstuck Joy, the art of living on purpose. Today, we're talking about how do we retrain our brain? What does that look like? But most importantly, we've got something absolutely incredible that Vicki is going to share with you today. For those of you that are wondering, what is Vicki going to be sharing with us and why does this relate to her life's work? Well, she helps all of us as an artist, as a speaker, as somebody that is leading the field of integrating art and mind and spirit together. Today, she is going to not just share what she's doing, but she's going to show all of us. Vicki, it's great to have you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to do the video on the radio. This is crazy.
Video on the radio.
I know.
I love that. Can I borrow that? Can I borrow video on the radio? Alex, write that down. Well, let's give people an idea of what we're actually doing today, because this is cool stuff.
Okay. I am so excited about this topic. I got most of this information from Bruce Lipton and Dr. Joe Dispenza. And so if people want to dive deeper into it, the book by Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, is really excellent. But this is a topic that I feel shocked by these statistics, but at the same time, not surprised, if that makes any sense at all.
It does make sense.
Yeah. So do you want me just to dive in?
I want to look at some of these crazy statistics. And the reason I love to talk about them as crazy, because we have a point of view about what we believe is really the truth. And like you said, when we hear these, we're going to be like, are you crazy?
That's right. Yeah, because awareness and perception don't seem that big of a step, but they are really huge. To be aware of these things, change your perception and change your path in life. So let's just start with the crazy statistics. On average, we think 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. That's a lot of things coming in to our mind. Bruce Lipton says that from conception to the age of 7, we're downloading whatever our parents tell us, our families, society, and school. And so we're just this big bank of this information that's been downloaded, feelings, the way that you look at the world, your beliefs, your values, all that type of stuff. After the age of 7, this is the shocking / not surprising part. 95% of the time, we're on default, automatic, subconscious thought patterns that basically we picked up by the age of 7. And that means that every day we think 95% of the thoughts that we did the day before. And the kicker is that on average, 70 to 80% of those thoughts are negative, limiting, sabotaging, and just really taking us down the wrong path. And when you see that number of 95% of our thoughts every day, we're just on this loop from the day before, and it's negative, sabotaging, and limiting, that's really sad. And so that means if you flip it, that only 5% of our thoughts, we kind of come up for air and we have a conscious, positive thought. And that's where our dreams and desires live. And we say, oh, I would like to follow my passion, or, I want to change my career, or I want to be healthier. But what was so fascinating is Joe Dispenza says it really is like coming off of drug or alcohol addiction, that when we have that moment of clarity with that 5% of our thoughts, the chemicals in our brain start working just like withdrawal. And that goes all through your bloodstream. And so your body starts telling you, oh no, who do you think you are? You can't do that. You have to stay in this rut, this 95% rut. And that's why it's so hard to change and get out. And so it just is mind-blowing to me.
Because don't we then also, Vicki, and this is what is so cool about what you're going to share today, don't we also have a visual of all those thoughts? I mean, what I mean by that is it would be different if, oh, wait a minute, I'm thinking the thought about what's in my bank account. And so I'm thinking the thought, oh, this is in my bank account, and it's just a thought. But it isn't just a thought. It doesn't it also connect to the belief we have about that, then therefore the story we have about that.
Yes.
And that's the stuff we're carrying forward, right?
Ooh. So it's a combo of the words, the thoughts that we tell ourselves, and how that connects to the emotions and the feelings. And that's what makes it so powerful. Like you said, it's this visual, it's this story. And like you said, looking at what is actually in your bank account, if you're focusing on the reality, you're going to get more of that reality. You have to kind of expand beyond that and believe something that you can't see. So it really is a cool thing, but it can be done.
I want to ask you this because these are really important. And when we release this, this video right here we're looking at, folks, one of the things you're seeing is literally a statistic and an animation of how many connections are in the brain. And that is something that Herbert Benson put together, decades ago. So this work that we're talking about is to say, if you have any doubt whatsoever that this is going on, please look at the screen. Now, what we're going to talk about is what you've discovered to help us with this.
Yes, because, we're not alone in this. I think sometimes we feel like we're in our own little bubble and we're so alone, like, oh, well, no, I could never do that. But if you know that this is happening to everybody, and it really is a chemical reaction in your body, you can overcome that. And so I have some ways to let people know in a practical sense of how you can use it every day. And it's not like a light switch. You can't say, check, I've totally changed this habit, because it's going to take time, but it is very doable. And that's the good news.
I love it. We've got a lot to cover. We're probably going to skip some breaks, so we're going to go to some very short breaks here today. And part of that is understanding how absolutely dynamic the work that you've been doing. Before we get to it, though, I want to ask you a question. Now, you've presented this approach. You've presented this work at workshops, right?
Yes.
Exciting. Exciting.
Yeah, we had a really great time last Saturday at Spa Air, so it was really fun.
Right. And what's happening as a result of this, you've integrated the research as well that you've just shared today and that we're sharing on the screen. But what you're doing is you're saying, wait a minute, we don't have to live like this. See, isn't this the game changer, Vicki?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, you can't expect for it just to snap your fingers and it's done. It takes work. But isn't that so exciting and rewarding to think, oh, it can be done? It just gives me relief in my stomach.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I want to do is I want to ask you about talking just for a minute. The good news is really that we can create a new norm.
Yes.
A new norm.
Yes.
So many people, Vicki, believe they can't. They don't even have any hope. You know what I'm trying to say is, what you're doing in the world isn't just about sharing this vision and this workshop and this work, but this gives people a new level of hope for the life that really has caused them to be off balance, out of harmony, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
did you just see this in the workshop?
Yes. And, when we have those dreams, now looking back that I know these statistics, when I was going through the process of thinking I have to quit my very stable professor position 2 years ago just to jump off and follow this dream that I couldn't see the total outcome, I really had to fight against that 95% of saying, you can't do this. Who do you think you are? How crazy are you to just take this leap, and quit your very stable job? And so I totally get it because I've been there, I've done that, and I'm working on this myself. It's taken, I would say the past year and a half to really start to see this shift, this new norm. And probably it would have been shorter if I had known this information and kind of not allowed my fear to take over, because that fear is living in that 95% rut. And so changing into, creating this new norm, you're expanding that 5% where your dreams and goals and passions and desires live. And so it is doable, and knowledge is power. So that's what we're going to give people today, is the knowledge of how you can do this.
Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Vicki Todd is in the house. But before we do that, Vicki, please let us know how folks can find out more about you, but also more about this process.
Yes. Okay, great. My website is Vicki World Art, VICKI, worldart.com. And I have an art visioning link that you can see the art visioning process that we'll talk about later in the show. And that's, what this creation is about. And also a radio link and a books link and a contact me link. And so everything for people to get in touch with me is on VickiWorldArt.com.
I love it. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, everyone, get ready for this. How can we retrain our brain for a positive new turn? Let's take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey, engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.
Be you plus live your purpose equals joy. That's the motto of Unstuck Joy with Vicki Todd. Vicki believes you were born with gifts that are meant to make the world brighter. Each show will feature an art visioning journal prompt to help you create your way to soul clarity. If you're ready to get unstuck and create more joy, this show is for you. Tune in every month on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit VickiWorldArt.com.
Hey listeners, would you love to have the most imaginable relationships ever? David Karcher has just finished his breakthrough book, The 7 Spiritual Strategies for Fulfilling Relationships, and he is giving you a copy. Learn to move any important relationship in your life forward like never before. Visit davidkarcher.com/blessing or transformationtalkradio.com to receive this incredible gift. Once again, that's davidkarcher.com/blessing.
What if your body and mind were the compasses to the secrets, mysteries, and magic of life? Glenna Rice, co-host of The Questionable Parent, is inviting you to access all that is possible. Glenna is a 10-year certified veteran access consciousness facilitator who offers an amazing variety of life-changing classes and workshops. Work with Glenna from anywhere, with teleclasses and workshops all over the globe. To learn more and see Glenna's current schedule of events, classes, and workshops, visit glennarice.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm so thrilled about today's show. It's interesting what happens when, you're me and you meet somebody like Vicki and you think to yourself, wow, what a talent, what a gift she has. And, beyond the amazing work she's done in art. Now, being able to put art together with consciousness, with cognitive theory, this is what this is about today. And this is what the world is now discovering about this work. But what's more important is this question: how can we retrain our brain? Not whether or not we can retrain it. It's now we know we can, but we're lacking tools up until now. Right, Vicki?
Right. And I had the privilege of seeing Joe Dispenza speak at the I Can Do It conference in Fort Lauderdale in October. And he is a medical doctor. And so he's blending the medical science with the quantum, spiritual woo-woo field. And, there's proof that this does work. And so I found that so exciting. It's not just something totally out there. It really is something concrete that we can do.
Yeah, I want to talk about this for a minute, because this is in essence storytelling of another kind. Sometimes when we say storytelling, we're expecting somebody to be sitting down and really just verbally telling a story. This is it as well. And even my research I did, which was on broken promises, the surprising result was, because I gave people a forum to tell their story, 1,200 pages of interview notes.
Wow.
They healed from that. And
Yes.
That was an unexpected outcome. So now we have more than enough information. But what you're doing brings the senses in so that the brain can absorb things even more succinctly, doesn't it?
Yes. And I love that phrase of storytelling, because we're really rewriting our own story.
Yeah.
To the way that we want it to be. And it's that much more positive version of ourselves. And so the way this works is we have to have the combination of our new positive thoughts of this future self, of who we want to be, seeing ourselves, Dr. Joe says to meditate and kind of visualize yourself in this new job or in this new relationship, or, in my case, creating this new life with my art, my books and speaking. And you can't just think the thoughts. It has to be a combination of your thoughts and connecting to feelings that feel really authentic and good and high vibe. And so he says, if you have thoughts, but your feelings, your heart really isn't into it, nothing is going to change. And so being able to match the thoughts and the feelings is the key. And so I really love what he says about ignore your own reality. And that's the whole thing with law of attraction. You can see what is, but there's a quantum field of all these other possibilities out there. And so we can select what we want our future self to be. And the key is to visualize yourself in that new future, whatever you want that to be. Look at it as if it's happening in the present, in the now, having the positive feelings about it where you can actually feel the joy, the excitement, that, this is really going to be an awesome life, or it is an awesome life, and I'm so excited about this. And give thanks, say thank you to the universe before it's happened. And that's the key. And he said, if you can get that combination of thoughts plus feelings plus gratitude in the now, even before you see it, then the quantum field, the universe is going to start giving you things like people popping into your life, or new resources that you hadn't seen, or opportunities through open doors that weren't there before. And that's going to start this momentum of changing your actions and then changing your reality. And so Dr. Joe says that if you can't feel those positive feelings of joy and excitement and love and, really get into that space, then that means that you're still operating from that 95% of the subconscious default automatic negative programming. And so, that's a clue that you need to kind of work on that. Yeah. And so, I think that's a really cool thing. And I had gone to a manifestation workshop a few months ago, and they had talked about tending your garden, your manifestation garden. And I'm not a gardener, but I know that gardening is hard. It's probably why I'm not a gardener, because I'm not good at it. But, you have to water, you have to prune, you have to weed. And so they said every day, tend your manifestation garden and make sure that you're staying on that high vibe of love and joy and gratitude. And those are the feelings that Dr. Joe is talking about. Match that with your thoughts. See it in the now. Give thanks to the universe to say, oh, thank you that this has happened. And then that will open doors for it to happen.
Yeah. And I think that really the cool thing about this is understanding when you're not. I mean, a lot of folks want to believe that they're in that vibe, that they really believe, but everything that comes out of their mouth, if not everything, even 1 nanosecond of doubt that is shared through your consciousness, your words, your thoughts, that has exponential power to negate some of that vibe. And we have a tendency to take that train of thought and really go way out there to disaster about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why to stop that.
Yeah. And that's why the awareness of catching yourself when you're having that thought and not letting the train go all the way down the track, to say, okay, I'm doing it, cancel, delete. Now, what can I think that's going to be more positive that will hit a really good high vibe feeling, and then go from there. And, don't beat yourself up. I got so mad at myself, within the past year and a half trying to change this, because I was having the thoughts that, oh, yes, I really love teaching at the university. I can translate that very easily into the art workshop format. But my heart didn't quite believe it yet. And I knew that my heart didn't believe it. And so I was living in the space of fear. And that is not love, gratitude, and joy. No. And so I knew that I was tripping myself up. And I was getting really disgusted with myself that I couldn't change it automatically. But be gentle with yourself, because, that's a lot of default negative stuff. 95% from the age of 7, most of us are into midlife and beyond. And so be gentle with yourself. It's going to take a little bit of time. And it's like going to the gym and training your body, training a muscle. You can't be muscle man overnight. It takes time to train that.
Yeah, but one of the things you've done is you've created a process to accelerate this.
Yes.
And I think it's really important to mention this here before we go to break. What we're doing here and what you're going to share today is a process that, if you're really stuck, is going to get you moving. If you're moving, it's going to accelerate, that pace, right?
Absolutely. And I think that that's what tripped me up along the way, is that my fear was totally getting in the way. And I knew that fear was there, but I didn't know that it was so in the forefront. And so if you can catch it, and with the art visioning process that we're going to look at, where you're inviting the universe in to download and reveal to you the next steps, I think it would make it go a little bit faster for people.
It's interesting you're talking about this. I was talking to a friend of mine today who is on the verge of a big project and needs some really short-term funding. And we were chatting about this today, and she said, the comment was to me, I'm really afraid of this loan that I've been approved for. And I'm thinking, I'm really afraid of this loan I've been approved for. So I'm not afraid that I'm not going to get the loan.
Because she got the loan.
She got approved for the loan. Yeah. And I said, did I actually hear you right? You've just been approved for the loan, but you're afraid of the loan you just got approved.
Wow.
And I made like the face that you just made right there. I mean, I was like, okay, that was like, what? And so here's, I think, an example of what you're talking about. She knows she's got a project that's on the verge of either huge funding or crowdfunding or something. She knows she's 4 to 6 weeks away from that, got approved for like a $20,000 loan. Now, I'm not saying the interest rate is great, but got approved for it. Going to have to make weekly payments, pretty large, but she's already at the place of defaulting on the payments for the money that she needs to kick a crowdfunding campaign into gear in 3 weeks.
Wow. Yeah, she could benefit.
But isn't this what you're talking about?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's not even a scenario where, wait a minute, I don't think I've got good credit. I don't think I'm going to get the loan. Isn't what she really saying, and hold this thought from when we come back, because you're going to address this. Isn't what she's saying is, I've gotten the money, but maybe I don't believe in my project enough to think I could really pull that off. Let's take a short break. Okay. When we come back, we're going to get right in. This is a good example, isn't it? How can I, it's really pretty. It's right on top of it though, right? I mean, here you've gotten approved for a loan, believe it or not, that you can have in 2 days, and you're already in fear about getting that loan. All right, we're going to take a short break. How can I retrain my brain? How am I going to be able to tell a news story? And did you even know, Vicki, you're going to have this much to work with today?
Yeah, this is excellent.
Take a short break. We'll be right back. Vicki Todd, I'm Dr. Pat. Tune in to the hit show Mouthing Off with Chef Rossi. Chef Rossi mouths off about different subjects in pursuit of breaking down walls and opening up your minds. She and Dr. Pat banter back and forth, taking from the headlines of the day on subjects that reach beyond what goes on in the world into your hearts. And go to theragingskillet.com to find out more and let Chef Rossi know what's on your mind.
Hey listeners, would you love to have the most imaginable relationships ever? David Carshare has just finished his breakthrough book, The 7 Spiritual Strategies for Fulfilling Relationships, and he is giving you a copy. Learn to move any important relationship in your life forward like never before. Visit davidcarshare.com/blessing or transformationtalkradio.com to receive this incredible gift. Once again, that's davidcarshare.com/blessing.
Are you traveling most of your day? Do you want to take Transformation Talk Radio with you anywhere you go? Well, guess what? There's an app for that. Just go to the App Store on your Apple device or the Google Play Store on your Android and search Transformation Talk Radio. Catch all of our live shows no matter where you are. Thanks for listening.
Be you plus live your purpose equals joy. That's the motto of Unstuck Joy with Vicki Todd. Vicki believes you were born with gifts that are meant to make the world brighter. Each show will feature an art visioning journal prompt to help you create your way to soul clarity. If you're ready to get unstuck and create more joy, this show is for you. Tune in every month on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit vickiworldart.com. Gifted intuitive healer and spiritual teacher Sarah Luce brings her unique style to the hit show Small Steps, Big Breakthrough Radio on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Tune in each month as Sarah turns reality on end and shows us how to experience expansive results with simple yet powerful steps. Expect an enlightening bend on what you currently believe is possible. For show details and upcoming topics, visit sarahluce.com. That's SARALOOS.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, Vicki, before we get into this, because this is really juicy, before we get into this, how can people find out more about this? How can they actually see demonstrations of this? And, you know, there may be people that are thinking, I would love for her to come into my group, my organization, and do this. Where is all that information for people?
Okay, on my website, which is Vicki World Art, VICKI worldart.com, I have a contact me link where you can email me. You can check out, there's a art workshop link. And so the second workshop are the art workshops that I'm doing every second Saturday at Spa Air in Kirkland, where we're doing these art visioning prompts. And so if people can come in to Spa Air, or if you'd like me to come into your group, you know, wherever it is, I'm willing to travel and do this. And so, but that's the best way to get in touch with me is to go to my website, vickiworldart.com. And I also have an art visioning link that describes this process that we're going to talk about next.
All right, I'm ready. And I think my friend's ready. So I'm going to make sure, you know, she's going to get this information. Listen, I got an old story, but it feels like it is a current story. And I gave you just one example. There are many, many that people have. How do we start this? What do we do?
Okay. Well, I have some practical ways of, there are kind of common categories, and you may have your own categories. The listeners out there may have different categories than I do, but these are kind of common categories that we fall into that would be the 95% default negative. And then we look at how we can shift that, to a more positive perception and get the feelings working with it. And so to look at some of these, I'm going to get into the art visioning prompt that I did. And so just to let people know, the art visioning is different than visualizing, because visualizing, we know the intention and then we ask the universe for help with that intention. With the visioning, we come with a question. And in this case, it will be our art prompts for each episode of Unstuck Joy. With this one, it's the Retrain Your Brain prompt. And so with that question of how can I retrain my brain, then you ask the universe these soul level questions, and I'll have them listed on my website under the Art Vision prompt. But what do you want me to discover about this area of my life? How can I see this differently? That's such a huge question with this. What do I need to shed? Any doubts or old perceptions or, one outcome? And what do I need to allow? A different way of perceiving it. And allow the universe to download and reveal to you some answers and revelations and discoveries. And then you record that in your art journal. And so it's a creative, fun way to look at it that goes beyond just linear logical words or just thinking about it in your head. So that's what I've done with this page. And
let's take a look at that. Hold that up here. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So tell people a little bit more about what that is, because we're all thinking, wow, how did she do that? How did she create that? That is amazing.
Okay, this is a mixed media art journal, and I have an art supply list. This is totally tailored to your comfort level. These are crayons. So I just went and bought a box of crayons at the craft store. And so, no big deal. But I've created kind of this little doodle head. And so the whole point with this art prompt of retraining your brain, you can collage ahead, you can doodle ahead. You can see on here, this is not proportionally correct or anything. It's just a cute little doodle thing. And you have these things coming out of the brain, starting with your old default negative thoughts and feelings, and then blend it into how you can change that into the more positive, good feeling things. And so one thing I don't have on here that I think is a common one as far as one of the categories, what are cliches or beliefs that you've grown up with as a child? I'm from Texas, and so if you can hear this in my dad's deep, Texas drawl voice, he would
Yes,
always,
I can.
Oh my gosh.
Can.
He would say, well, Vicki, money doesn't grow on trees. And every time I hear that, my stomach clenches.
I know, my mom from the South, honey, you make your bed, you sleep in it.
Yes. So we all have those. And so with the money doesn't grow on trees coming from my dad, he was a good provider. But the thing behind that for him, and this is what, I downloaded into my own personality, was that success has to be hard work and struggle. So money doesn't grow on trees means you got to work, And so that every time I hear that, my stomach just clenches, because I was always like, oh, it can't be that way. It has to be easier. And so I could switch that, totally turn it on its head to maybe say, oh, I've got the Midas touch. Everything I do turns to gold. Well, that's changing my words. That's changing my thoughts. But does that match my feelings? That may not feel authentic or good to me because, that doesn't quite seem true. So then maybe you could find something in the middle. Like I used to tell my university students in the writing class, persuasive writing, I'd say, find the baby bear porridge. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's just right. So find baby bear porridge for you. So, I could maybe say, my business is beginning to grow. I see positive shifts. That feels good to me. Yeah. So I've got the thoughts, I've got the feelings. And so then I can use that as a mantra going forward. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. Now, the next one, the old me would get caught on one outcome, and I would just hold on to it, white knuckle it, and it had to be that outcome. And then it's like, oh, how come this outcome isn't happening? Then there's fear. What do I need to do? And, that just makes me start restricting and getting into this fear mode. Well, what if you could say, maybe there's more than one outcome? relief, so I may not know what those outcomes are, but just having that open door of possibility. And so if you can see, that's what I did here was, what if there were more than one outcome? And I put the sunshine because that makes me feel like, oh, the clouds have parted and now the sun is out. And I did these very generally according to the categories, but a specific one that you could put on here, you can put specific things to your life. I could say, this time last year, I was going through the National Speakers Academy to learn how to be a public speaker. And since I had taught, for 17 years, university level, it just seemed, quote unquote, logical to be a college speaker and travel around from campus to campus. And I tried, I looked into different avenues and I just kept running into blank walls. And the old me would have said, nope, this is the logical thing. You got to go for that college speaking. The new me said, maybe this isn't my thing. It should be flow. It should be a little bit easier if this was really the thing you're meant to do. So I let go of it. I said, universe, if this is meant to be, then you're going to have to show me. Well, a few months later, I get the email from Dr. Pat that says, hey, would you like to do your own radio show? What? So that's a different avenue that I had not considered before, that is speaking in a different way, and it gives me a much larger reach than just being on a certain campus. And so that could be a specific that I could put with a new outcome.
Yeah. You know what I love about this is that you're also talking about retraining your brain to let go.
Yes.
Well,
because okay with it.
Yeah, to let go. I mean, you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you had a bicycle when you were a kid, but I did. Yeah. And before we got that big bicycle, we had the smaller bicycle and had training wheels. And I remember my folks, especially my dad, he didn't take off both training wheels. Do you remember this? He only took off one training wheel at a time.
Wow.
Yeah.
My dad took both off.
Well, yeah. And, for me, it didn't matter that he took one off because I was ready to go. But for my sister, it made all the difference in the world. And I want to tell you what, for about a week, my sister rode on the wheel and the training wheel. So what she did was adjust herself to lean, to ride.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't remember exactly when it happened for her that she was able to sit upright and just ride the bike. Right.
Right.
But everybody's different. And what you've created allows for one training wheel to come off or both training wheels to come off, because you're giving us the opportunity, right?
Absolutely. And I've got 3 categories here that match my life. I don't have to work on all 3 at once. I can work on one, maybe the most pressing one, and that would be, relying on that one training wheel for a while, which is absolutely fine. Right. So, yeah.
It's exciting. Now, we're going to get ready to go to break here. Before we go to, our final conversation on this, we've covered a lot. Let's just give people a little recap of how this helps us understand these universal principles.
Okay. So the first thing,
abundance, career, love.
Yes. Well, the first thing to remember is it's normal to have that 95% negative loop, but be aware that you're in it. Once you're aware of it, then you can use your positive thoughts, visualize this new you as if it's happening now, match that with positive feelings, the love, joy, gratitude, say thank you to the universe. And if you can keep in that, keep tending that garden every day, then eventually the universe is going to start popping up in your life, new opportunities, new resources, new people, and your actions will change, new stuff will pop up, and your life will change.
I love it. Let's take a short break. But before we do, website, one more time.
Okay, Vicki World Art, VICKI, worldart.com.
Now, when we come back, what we're going to be doing is we're going to look at some prompts. We're going to look at we're going to take a really, like, what do I need to do? How do I get this going? Very specific things we're going to share with people. And also your website provides people with these tools too, right?
Yes, it does.
Boom. I love it. Well, let's take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back.
Be you plus live your purpose equals joy. That's the motto of Unstuck Joy with Vicki-Todd. Vicki believes you were born with gifts that are meant to make the world brighter. Each show will feature an art visioning journal prompt to help you create your way to soul clarity. If you're ready to get unstuck and create more joy, this show is for you. Tune in every month on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit VickiWorldArt.com.
The Earth is an ever-changing being. Goddess Light Shamanic Healer Bree Gibbs guides us through the ascending worlds, bringing forth knowledge and truth. As a light creator, she is here to provide new information needed at this time in our evolution. Join Bree as she shares messages from guides, spirits, ascended masters, goddesses, and others. Tune in the second and fourth Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific, and Thursdays, 1 p.m. Pacific for Silver Gaia Radio.
How would you like to release your stress and let go of your anxiety, fear, depression, or even physical pain? How would you like to feel more relaxed, more confident, and experience more success in all areas of your life? Dave Dodge from Stress Buster Radio has a number of cutting-edge methods that will help you do just that. For more information on how Dave can help you release stress, visit StressBusterRadio.com. Skype and phone sessions available.
Hey listeners, would you love to have the most imaginable relationships ever? David Carshare has just finished his breakthrough book, The 7 Spiritual Strategies for Fulfilling Relationships, and he is giving you a copy. Learn to move any important relationship in your life forward like never before. Visit davidcarshare.com/blessing or transformationtalkradio.com to receive this incredible gift. Once again, that's davidcarshare.com/blessing.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Pat. You know, this is a great show. I mean, Vicki is doing a regular series on this. More importantly, for those of you that are listening to the show, I want to make sure that you know that there is a visual version of this. All you need to do is go to Transformation Talk Radio, or Vicki, they can go to your site now and look at it as well.
Yes, I will have this on the Art Vision prompt page for Retrain Your Brain. And so I'll have a link to the video and, to the radio site as well.
Well, we have one more part of this to talk about, a very important part. And let's talk about, what this latest discovery is that's on the bottom of the picture right there.
Yeah. One of my categories with Retraining Your Brain is the funhouse mirror, because a lot of times when we have doubts, other people mirror those doubts to us, and they may be doing it through a place of love, their own fear. They may be doing it through what I call the crab bucket mentality, where they're trying to keep us down playing small and not, get out of the bucket and play big. And so I had an awesome transformational experience at the Women of Wisdom Conference in February. And just short background, my mom has not been super on board with me quitting my stable professor job and just taking off to do my own thing. And when I quit 2 years ago, it was, I'm embarrassed of you. What am I going to tell people? No one is going to want your art on their wall. No one is going to come to your workshops and things like that. And, I went into victim mode that hurts. Why are you saying that? I'm crying. I'm losing sleep. And I had a chance to go to a reader, and she read my Akashic soul records. And she said that, at a certain time, my mom and I were right together, but now we've kind of split. And so she broke the contract, that soul spirit contract with my mom. And after that, I could feel this effervescent joy. I felt freedom from that. I still love my mom, but it just wasn't this tie that was so toxic. But then I realized, wait a minute, I have the same doubts and fears, because those are my fears. What if no one comes to my workshops? What if no one wants my book or my story? What if nobody wants my art? And so at that point, I thought, wow, since that tie has been cut and I'm no longer in the victim mode, now I can objectively look at it and I can say, I can change this. This seems doable to me. And so that's what I have with this Retrain Your Brain of doubt. I could write out those doubts of no one wants my art, no one's coming to my workshops or whatever. But then how can I not have a funhouse mirror, but have this hand mirror and look at myself with this beautiful new story and change my story by doing what Dr. Joe had said? Change the story to positive thoughts that, yes, I love giving my workshops. I love sharing my story. I love saying, here's how I lit my candle. Now I can light yours. And so that does give me joy and excitement. So the thoughts match the feelings. And I can just keep with that and know that people who need this information will come. And this isn't something that's happened overnight. I'm still working on it. But that gives me so much relief and joy. It can be done to retrain your brain to do this. So that's an awesome thing.
It is. I mean, and what it is it creates almost an instant reaction and response. And so what you're talking about it's like we're so used to doing something and then waiting 5 years for us to see the change. What you're talking about is, no, the change is happening as you're doing this.
Yes, because at the Women of Wisdom conference, I had been to an all-day workshop from 9 to 5, and during the break, I had the Akashic records read. I was tired that night. I thought, I think this has done something, but I'm too tired to think about it now. Well, the next day, I hopped into new workshops, and I could just I felt giddy. I felt really giggly and joyful, and I thought, wait a minute, I could see it instantly, that I could feel that change had been made. But then just realizing that, I have the power to change this.
Yeah.
Wow. So, that's the part I had to work on, but it was an instant thing to know I'm in control of this. And it's up to me to retrain these thoughts and feelings into something much more positive and receive these more positive results. And
I know.
It's working.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really the outcome that we totally want in our lives, because, this is about unstuck joy. This is about really getting this stuff moving. Now, you have something else really special to share with us.
Oh, one thing with this one, because it's really important. How do you relate to fear? Obstacles or challenges? Can you perceive that as what's the lesson? What's the silver lining? What's the opportunity? And, I've got that with the rainbow, because Maya Angelou had said behind every storm cloud, there's a rainbow. And so that's a good one too, to look at your fears. The other art visioning prompt, I don't know if we can get this all in.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, good. We'll have a picture on the website too. Collage poetry or poetry collage. I am not a poet, and so don't feel like you have to be a poet. But literally what I did was I had a pile of magazine pages out in front of me. I sat on the floor, closed my eyes, and just intuitively chose 7. And there's a method behind this madness of why you're doing it with your eyes closed. Probably if I would have had my eyes open, I would not have chosen the crane or the baby or the frog. But I did get the crane and the baby and the frog. And so then you have the choice. Am I going to default into that old negative language of, why did I get that? Or what am I going to do with that? Or, now I have a choice to create something more positive that feels good and positive and inspirational to me. And that's where the poem comes in. And so on some of these things, I was very direct, like crane speaks. On some of them, I was more descriptive. Like instead of saying the baby, I said, I stare in wonder. So, you can work it both ways. I didn't know what the spirit power or medicine of the crane was. And so I Googled it, and it said something about when you're in the eye of the storm, the crane will bring you clarity. And so what I did was crane speaks in the storm's eye, clarity will sparkle jewel-like, because I have the picture with the jewelry here. I don my turquoise armor, ready. Time morphs, sometimes standing still, at times rushing ahead. It's cunning, like a fox. Ever unpredictable. I stare in wonder, ready to take a verdant leap of faith with my frog. My resolve, baptized by fire.
Wow.
So It's the point behind this is sometimes life does throw us curveballs that we may not choose, but we have the choice at that moment to go into the default negative old routine of, oh no, what am I going to do? This will never work. I'm afraid. Or step back and say, how can I retrain my brain, think positive thoughts, find a feeling that matches, and move forward in that more positive way? So that's the point behind this journal prompt.
I love it. As we're looking at these, people are asking, what can I do now? I want to get started. And I know we shared a lot. You've also, though, created a way for people to interactively begin the process, so to speak, or
yes.
if not begin the process, to definitely look at what you've prepared and at least say, yeah, this sounds cool. Where do we go? How do we do this?
Okay, I am inviting people to play along with me. And the way that I look at these art visioning prompts for each episode, we'll have a new one for each episode of Unstuck. It's like that saying that you remove 1,000 veils to get to your true self. And so think of each art vision prompt as one more veil that you're removing to, work to your true self. And so on my website, vickiworldart.com, I have an art visioning link in the menu, and that will give you a page where it tells you the benefits of the art visioning process. It gives you the difference between visualizing and visioning. It gives you an art supply list, and it gives you the questions that you ask the universe, the actual questions that you use in the art visioning process. And I also have a link to each show's specific art visioning prompt. And so there will be a separate page for the Retrain Your Brain. And so we'll have the link to the video of the show, the link to the radio show, pictures of what I've shown here with my Retrain Your Brain and the collage poetry. And I will give you instructions of how to do the prompt to play along.
Awesome. Now, is there an art vision prompt of the day?
That is the Retrain Your Brain and the collage poetry for this particular show. Yes.
Right. So what people can do is, this is absolutely for them. They're hearing Retrain Your Brain. This is not, can I retrain my brain? No, that's not what we're saying here today. You've just presented not just a way to do it, but in reality, how people now are doing this with you. You've done workshops on it. It's got to be amazing to see what people have show up, Vicki, isn't it?
It really is. And that's what gives me such joy in these workshops in person is, like I said, this is how I lighted my candle, and I'm moving forward. And when I can see them having an epiphany of, I do have that limiting belief, here's how I can change it, that's just so transformational and mind-blowing.
Well, I want to make sure everybody knows, if you've missed any part of this, we have the video up at Transformation Talk Radio and the Dr. Pat Show. For you, Vicki, what's the website? How can they go look and find out more about what we've talked about today, but also, the art vision prompt? Please let folks know any and all of the above. And also, how can they contact you directly?
Yes, my website is Vicki World Art, VICKI, worldart.com, and they can go to the Art Vision link in the menu, and that will give you all the information about art visioning, the process in general. Underneath that is an Art Vision prompt link, and that will take you to the various prompts for each episode of Unstuck Joy. And so for this one, it's called Retrain Your Brain. And when you get to that page, it will give you all the instructions of how to do these 2 art vision prompts, and also the link to the video and the radio show and instructions and the questions to ask the universe, and everything will be there.
Awesome.
And also my email is under the Contact Me link.
Awesome. I have one last question for you. What is your personal message? What's your invitation? What do you want to share with people?
My invitation with this show is for people to be aware of when they are in that negative, hamster wheel of that 95% subconscious default programming. Because when you're aware of it, that's when you can say, I just did it. Now, what can I do with it? Because then you have that choice to say, how can I retrain myself to think more positively about this in a way that feels good and authentic and high vibe, and create that new norm? Keep cultivating it, keep working on it like your manifestation garden, love, joy, and gratitude. And the universe is listening to you. It wants good for you. And so new things will start popping up in your life. You'll start taking more positive actions, and you will change your norm. You'll change your reality.
I love it. Vicki, you rock. This is amazing. This is a blessing of how you've been able to not just create it, but you've taken this out into the world. And most people, when they have a new idea, here's the storyline that gets told. You have a new idea. It takes anywhere from 1 to 2 years to literally bring it to the world. Secondarily, to actually get out there and do it. And what I love about the work we do here is we help people accelerate that process.
Yes.
And now to see this in such a short period of time and people's lives changing, that is really amazing to me.
Yes.
Isn't it to you?
And that's the superpower of this art visioning process, is you're inviting the universe in to download and reveal to you these new discoveries. So you are not doing this on your own.
I love it. Vicki-Todd, everybody. I'm Dr. Pat. We've got more to come, an entire series of this. Please engage. Please check it out. Please accept the invitation to change your lives. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Unstuck Joy, the art of living on purpose with Vicki-Todd. This hit show is where your higher purpose is revealed and cultivated. Now you too can share your unique light and special gifts with the world. Vicki's dedication to raising your life's purpose to something extraordinary is unending. So don't miss out on your opportunity. Catch Unstuck Joy monthly with Vicki-Todd and Dr. Pat Baccili. For more information about Vicki and her work, go to VickiWorldArt.com. That's VICKI worldart.com.